Most of the time, we're looking for very dramatic outside realities and solutions to our problems instead of realizing most of it is hardwired inside. Hebb's law says what fires together, wires together. And so your actual life experience, the humdrum, the boring of sleuthing through your inner world will yield far more fruit in your discovery of self. Because we're always looking for, why do I love the narcissist? Why do I end up with abusive bosses? Why does this event happen? Why can't I financially get breakthrough? As if it's in the cosmos, as if it's something outside. Instead of realizing with quantum physics that our internal reality is so complex and multifaceted, there's different times, realms, dimensions, pretty crazy and mind-blowing. But if you can do the inner work, you can change your energy. Not in like a new age hypnosis weird way, but in like an internal reality that there's parts of you that are holding life experience, trapped emotion, and they have assigned roles and habits that they will drift back to. So I know that kind of sounds abstract when you're just trying to listen to a podcast that's supposed to just cheer you up or make you feel good about yourself. But I want to equip you to know more about your inner world, what's going on, and why does that quote unquote keep happening, whatever that might be. If you start to do a timeline of your life, and most of us, we move so fast that we don't really take the time to take stock and look for themes and patterns. So get a piece of paper and construct for yourself a timeline. Go back and look at themes and patterns. Where were you rejected? Where were you accepted? Where did you find favor? How did you learn to get approval? What were the rules your inner world likely picked up that helped you succeed in that environment? Now, it became so automatic, nobody had to tell us, keep your mouth quiet. Don't be seen, or don't be heard instead of seen, or whatever the belief might have been. Don't have conflict. Don't have too many questions. Be in your male energy, be in your feminine energy. Whatever it might have been, we all learned a script. And the crazy thing is there can be parts of you that developed a script that are totally outside of your conscious awareness today. That's the quantum physics part, that like out of time, realm, dimension, something got stuck. And that part of you is still running in the background outside of your awareness in the present moment. So wherever we protest too much, and I'm like, oh, I don't deal with that, that's not an issue for me, then usually that's an area to become very curious. Because where I deny so much means I have energy against being present with that versus just kind of curious, like, oh, I don't know if it's possible if I deal with that or I've had that issue before. We have a curiosity that helps bring things into light. Where I immediately have a wall instead of curiosity, then as humans, we know odds are good we're defending against something. So in your timeline, you're looking for themes, patterns, and also cycles. Where did you get acceptance and belonging? And then where did it kind of crash and crumble? Where are moments that you felt the most hopeless and despair? And then what did you do immediately after that? Did you have chocolate? Did you run into a romantic relationship? Did you call somebody? Did you buy something shiny? Those then set you up for what are your false comforters. The things we go to when we're upset that we try to immediate gratification feel better. When you look at the timeline, it helps to make it not just this abstract thing I've lived, but it's actually really clear and it's really organized to go, this event happened. I made this inner vow, this judgment, this belief. I coped with it this way. I medicated myself to make it all go away this way. And if you're a person who has no memory and things don't really come easily when you try to do that exercise, odds are good avoidance is probably one of your coping mechanisms. So we avoid or disconnect or disassociate from the memory and the experience as a way to insulate ourselves from pain. When we know that, now I can go, oh, I need to go back to where I have gaps in my memory. Or I can talk about it intellectually but I've never truly grieved or honored that experience. When you bend down and you open that space, in the quantum physics part, this is Shannonisms, that I'll just picture peeling layers off of the part of me that's held in a different time, realm, and dimension by just peeling those layers off as if there's an invisible bubble or wall separating us. And I'm bending down in my imagination and picturing reconnecting with that part of self. And I'll picture it almost like I've kept a secret from myself. That we have parts of us that hold the vulnerability, the rage, the sadness, the shame, whatever was congealed into that moment, that life experience. And so we can, again, talk about it way up here at a cerebral level, but not really sit with it and be fully present. When you are willing to go slow and get low and be kind and curious with that part of you, it's literally like you're opening up your inner world and saying, hey, me that's holding the panic, me that's holding the addiction, me that's holding the sorrow, the grief, the trauma, the vulnerability, the shame, whatever it is, you have permission. It's over now. The bad things are over. You've hidden, you've taken care of me, you coped the best you knew how. And instead of judging you and controlling and trying to whack-a-mole you, I want to be kind. I want to be curious. I want to get low and go slow and bring you back into my conscious committee. And in my imagination, I'll just picture kind of hugging that part, bringing it back into my time realm dimension, into conscious awareness. And now at the table, this part of me gets to be seen and known. And we can work through any remaining grief, any self-judgment, inner conflicts that parts of self may have toward one another. And as we clear that out, the inner world comes into a place of rest. I can't change the fact that those things happen to you, but we can heal a scab that keeps scabbing over and getting triggered into a scar. And a scar is a testimony that you can see the goodness of God even in a terrible situation. That you're not just intellectualized way up here or spiritualized, that it turned together for good, but you're actually letting yourself get low, go slow, and connect to that part of you. When you're willing to do that work, your soul finally relaxes. And the brain no longer has to have what's called Zeigarnik effect, which just means it keeps recalling what is unresolved. That is one of the reasons Freud would say that we have the replication of the trauma, that we have cycles and patterns in our life, because your inner world is trying to resolve something. And many times we're craving the unavailable person to finally say you're enough. We did it in childhood, and so then many people will look for that boss or mentor or friend or significant other to be the one that's unavailable, and you want me because it's proving something. It's you saying that I'm worth it. For your inner world, that's the greatest desire and need. But on that conscious side, you're like, why do I just give up on all the good people? Why do I not stick it out? Why am I not attracted to them? But I'm just like head over heels, compulsive, have to be with this person when they're, mean to me or unavailable or inconsistent or using me. That discrepancy can tell you, oh, this is conscious awareness and this is unconscious awareness. When we clear that out and you're like, oh, my theme, my cycle, my pattern in my timeline of life is actually highlighting what needs to be resolved. When we resolve it, we can now clear out. My brain doesn't have to be so attracted to what's unavailable. You can now bring that part conscious, integrate it. You can ask Jesus to be Lord and Savior of this part of your soul, which is called progressive sanctification, and then redeeming back to its original design, and invite this part to now have a role of trust, of health, of leadership, of being attracted to bosses and friends and significant others that value you and appreciate you, and not inconsistent or rejecting or aloof or unavailable, but allowing love to enter. Allow the belief that you are worthy and good things are for you and they do last. And when they don't, then that's something on that, not necessarily a shame belief or a reenactment that you're continuing to play out at an unconscious level. So to clarify, You have life experience, and your brain was hardwired on that. Other parts of self have also taken on roles that then protected you. Almost like if you were watching a movie and at the scariest part of a horror film, right when the guy's about to stab the girl, you pause the movie. That's the equivalent of what it's like on the inside when a part of us gets shame or fear, anxiety, mistrust. In that moment, now parts of self are dedicated to protecting ourselves so that we never experience that again. The irony is we made a vow to never let that happen again, but a rogue, unconscious part of self wants closure, wants it to be resolved, wants it to be better. So it keeps bringing it up, and the replication of the pattern keeps happening in your life. And you're like, what is wrong? Why does this keep happening? Because there's parts of self that need to be acknowledged. They need to be no longer a secret, bent down, and then brought conscious into your committee. So all the parts of self no longer holding that secret, bringing them into life, and letting that secret finally be released, which includes actually getting trapped emotion out of your system. So that's the somatic piece, which fancy word that just means how the body holds a trapped emotion. And so it's like a magnet, and you're visualizing that magnet drawing out the trapped emotion, the grief, the trigger response, clearing that out so that your inner world is no longer getting a bunch of triggered emotion that causes lies to feel true. When you get the triggered emotion out, then a lie, a thought might enter your mind, but you can brush it off easier because you're not flooded with intense emotion at the same time that just got triggered that's causing that lie to feel true. We want to clear out the emotion, which means I picture crying into someone secure's chest. For me, that's Jesus. You picture somebody that is safe for you, whether in real life or in your imagination through visualization, and you allow yourself to be hugged and you go, that is painful. I'm not going to keep that secret from myself anymore. I am sad about X. I am depressed and lonely and scared about X. And that did happen. And it is okay for me to work through that and grieve that. And I recognize the ways that I keep being drawn to certain kinds of people and events as an unconscious way to try to heal and repair and fix something. I don't want that to be unconscious anymore. I'm acknowledging it. I'm bringing it in the committee. And then I'm going to write myself a letter of this is what happened. And now this is what I choose to do with it going forward. There were core beliefs that were formed during a trauma moment. A flood of emotion made those lies feel true. We agreed with it. And then that created a stronghold, which means it's in a different time, realm, dimension. That part of us got stuck at the age we were back then. So to clear that out, there's steps of resolving, of recognizing and working through so our inner world can come back online and we can feel like ourselves again. And truth resonates. You write yourself a letter and then write the truth, proclaim truth, revisit your identity, your calling, your value, and then let that resonate. Picture all these parts of self coming back into harmony or cohesion within you. And as they do, you'll feel more grounded and your peace will be restored. Thanks, guys.